They always say read the fine print before buying a house. What they don't say is that sometimes the fine print rewrites itself after you move in. I bought this place for peace, that's it. Just peace. Some quiet Sundays, maybe a dip in the pool. After a messy divorce and years of micromanagement, I needed a place where nobody told me what to do. And for a while, it felt like I found it. Willow Bend Ridge looked perfect. Boulder, Colorado, clean streets, friendly neighbors. I did my homework too, read every bylaw, double-checked. The rules about pools, got all the permits. That pool in my backyard wasn't just water and tiles, it was freedom poured into concrete. And for a few golden weeks it stayed that way. Then came Teresa Vaughn, HOA president, self-proclaimed, community visionary and unofficial fashion disaster. I first saw her across the street at my welcome BBQ, not as a guest, just watching from her porch like she was on stakeout duty. A week later, she hit me with my first violation, something about unapproved recreational usage. I thought it was a mistake. 3 adults sitting poolside doesn't exactly scream spring break gone wild, but Teresa didn't see it that way. Next came a $300 fine for breaking Sunday quiet hours, which, by the way, didn't exist when I bought the house. Turns out she held a vote to pass that rule on a random Tuesday morning when only her friends showed up. Real democracy, right? Things escalated fast. Every weekend I used the pool, I got another notice. I started calling it the sticker war because each fine came on pink paper with happy faces or unicorns like a toddler was threatening my property value. That's when I pulled out my old legal instincts and started documenting everything. I built a case file thicker than a wedding cake. The turning point came when I installed a few legal security cameras just to protect myself. Within 48 hours, Teresa called an emergency board meeting to ban cameras. Scheduled it at 10 a.m. on a weekday classic. I showed up anyway, armed with state law and calm rage. She tried to paint me as unstable, bringing up my divorce. That was her mistake. I started digging deeper, and boy, the pattern was clear. 7 homeowners had sold in the past 3 years after being fined into oblivion, all professionals, all new. Teresa was using the HOA as a personal stepping stone, trying to pad a political resume by being the tyrant of a cul-de-sac. And just when I thought she couldn't sink lower, she forged my signature. I came home one day to find my pool water dyed neon blue and a $1,200 testing bill taped to my door. The tech guy said he had my approval, showed me a work order with my signature, except it wasn't mine. Then came the kicker. As I drained the pool, I spotted damage to the pump, wires, loose scratches on the casing. Reviewed my footage that night, and there he was, Gary Vaughn, Teresa's husband, sneaking around with tools, messing with the equipment like he was doing covert ops in a polo shirt. That night, sitting on my porch with a bottle in hand, I hit rock bottom. But then I remembered why I bought this house, why I built that pool, and I realized it wasn't just about me anymore. It was about every neighbor she bullied into silence. I launched what I called Operation Compliance, got help from Archie, a retired history teacher next door who'd seen it all, and Danielle, a board member with a conscience. We combed through every bylaw, every meeting record. And that's when we struck gold, Section 19.7.3. If the HOA forces a modification, they have to pay for it. So I played it smart. I pretended to give up. Let her allies overhear me talk about selling acted defeated. Then quietly I submitted a written agreement to permanently resolve the recreational violation. At 7 a.m. sharp the following Tuesday, the sound of a concrete truck echoed down our street. Workers showed up and started pouring cement right into my pool. Neighbors stared. Teresa sprinted over in slippers and panic screaming, "What are you doing?" I handed her a copy of her own violation letter. "You said to permanently fix it, so I'm complying." 2 days later, I submitted an $18,000 invoice to the HOA itemized, signed, sealed, and very legal. At the next board meeting, I presented every violation, every forged signature, and even played the footage of Gary breaking into my pool system. One by one, neighbors stood up. People who'd been silent for years started telling their stories. Then Teresa made her biggest blunder yet. In a last-ditch effort, she screamed that I was destroying property values to sabotage her political career. Yeah, she said that out loud. The room turned. The board voted to reimburse me and to audit every enforcement action she had ever issued. County investigators got involved, and a week later, my camera caught Teresa and Gary shredding HOA documents in the office at 2 a.m. She resigned, he got charged. Danielle took over as HOA president, Archie became VP, and I was named legal advisor. But the story doesn't end there. One morning, I found a plain envelope on my porch. Inside were pool designs, beautiful ones with a note. You saved our neighborhood. Let us rebuild yours. Turns out the neighbors had come together to raise money and labor. Even folks who used to side with Teresa showed up to help. 2 weeks later, the backyard was better than ever. Waterfall, hot tub, stonework, everything I had dreamed of but couldn't afford before. At the reopening, BBQ Archie stood next to me, handed me a beer, and said, "You didn't just pour concrete, you poured a foundation for all of us." And as I watched the kids splashing in the water, laughter bouncing off the new stone walls, I knew he was right. But here's the thing, I had to destroy something. I love to save something bigger, and I can't help but wonder, where do we draw the line between enforcing order and abusing power? Let me know in the comments, would you have done the same or walked away? Because sometimes justice looks a whole lot like a concrete truck backing into your driveway.